Hello violinists, welcome to Pro Am Strings. I'm Henriette and I'm delighted because today is day 32 of the Virtual Violin Practice Playalong. Thanks very much for showing up here. I'm very grateful to see so many people here. So today we are going to create a more intense bowing technique by practicing our follow-through bowing. Next we're going to develop our vibrato further. Then we're going to play our wrist circles and really consolidate those, and then we're going to do our improvisation. So make sure you stay right to the end of this video because that's where the fun part is. Let's get all your things now and let's get started. We're starting by tuning up. Here is your A. Your E string. Here is D. And G. And let's practice our strings together now. Let's listen really carefully to the A and E string. And A and D. And G and D. Lovely. Let's put your violin and your bow down. And we're going to get started exploring our shoulders and our elbows again. So what I'd like you to do is raise your shoulders towards your ears as high as you can and then drop them down as low as you can. And let's do that again. Lift them up and put them down. And let's see if you can get them any lower than where you were before. Lift up again and put them down. Great. So this is just a little warming up of making you aware where your shoulders are. Now let's put your arms sideways and do the same thing. Shoulders up and shoulders down. And up. And now put them slightly further down than where you had them a moment ago. And up again. And really drop them down. Excellent. Now let's bring your forearms in. And let's now become aware of what's happening to our shoulder blades. So we're going to do this. And you can imagine that your shoulder blades sit next to one another when your arms are down. But when you lift up your elbows, your shoulder blades go sideways. And I want you to imagine what's happening in your back. And I want you to bring your attention to your back, your upper back. And I want you to see if you start to feel this. Let's try it again, shall we? Bring it out and bring it back. And some of you might be saying, woman, you're mad. I don't feel a thing. And others might have been focusing on that for a little bit longer and think, oh yes, I can feel something. So let's try it again, shall we? Pretend your shoulder blades are here and you bring your arms out like that, your elbows, and then back down again. Listen carefully. Now I'm going to go out again. Now I'm raising my shoulders and I'm dropping my shoulders down to their lowest position and I'm bringing them in. Shall we do that one more time? So imagine these are your shoulder blades. Up, So your shoulder blades, imagine they are sideways. Now go up, shoulders up. Now drop your shoulders down and now really sit your shoulder blades down like that. Let's try that again, shall we? Elbows sideways. Raise your shoulders. Drop your shoulders, really feel them drop with your back muscles. And now put your elbows down and really sit those shoulder blades down again. So you see there is a difference between when I'm just putting my shoulders up and down and when I'm putting my arms up and down, when I'm really going down and pulling my shoulder blades down, you see. And gradually, as you practice that more and more often, you become more aware of what's happening. And we want to get to a position where we can have an imaginary pull which pulls especially your right shoulder down so that you can hang off that and increase the weight of the bow into the string. That's where we're heading. So let's now pick up our violin and our bow, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. And we're going to start by flying up in the air with your bow, and I want you to go like that, way too far to the left. So my bow is on the left hand side of the violin and I'm coming from here. You can just see me underneath my arm. Down closer and closer and closer to the string, and I want you to set it right here. And now before you start to bow, I want you to drop that shoulder down and really sit your shoulder blade into its lowest position before we then pull away the bow. And that brings us then, that allows us then to fly up again. Go well to the left of your violin. Come down, come closer and closer until you touch the string. Now drop your shoulder into it and really pull on that right shoulder blade. And now pull your bow away and stretch your arm forwards. And let's try that again, shall we? So fly up way to the left of your strings. Now come closer, come closer, come closer. Sit your bow on the string, drop your shoulder down, drop your shoulder blade down as well. And then pull it away and bow straight. Awesome. And I think that you will now hear a very solid, very intense quality sound. And that is because you pull the bow into the string with your back muscles, and that's where we want to go. Now let's do something different now. We're going to stay on the G string, and I'm going to start right at the point, and I'm going to, we've done this in the past, just nudge my elbow in here. Can you see that? So this is a slight little movement, and I'm going to pretend I'm going to just dig the bow into the string by pulling my elbow here. And then I'm flying up to way to the left where we started our down bow. So now you can connect these two. Come down, sit the bow on the string, carry on going lower with your upper arm, with your shoulder, but also your shoulder blade is going to join in now as well. Off you go. Don't worry about that little crunch. Now we're coming at an up bow again here. So can you do this with your elbow so that you're really going to go into the string and fly away to the left. Good job. Now come down, come closer. Sit your bow on the string, drop your shoulder and upper arm. Now pull that bow down on your shoulder blade and now that is an awesome bowing technique, and we'll practice that more often. We'll come back to that because for some of you that may be completely new and a very different way of looking at things. And that is one of the things this course tries to achieve, to make you see the same techniques maybe from a slightly different perspective. And that is going to increase your knowledge and therefore progress your violin playing. So good job, well done. So now let's work on our vibrato, and let's put the bow down for a moment again. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide along the string. So pick any finger you like. We're still on the A string, and we're going to slide as we have done before. Like that. And you want to make sure that your knuckles here are level with the strings. You want to make sure also that your elbow is straight underneath the violin, so we don't want that sort of thing. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you're on your fingertips. So make your fingers a little bit lighter if you find that very hard to move. And we're going to count to 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you've got confidence that you're going nicely, put your super glue on and let it wobble. And if you get 1 or 2 wobbles, that's excellent. That's how everything starts when it's new. Perhaps today we might see if we can put 1 or 2 extra wobbles in, shall we? So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your super glue on when you're ready and try a couple more wobbles. Lovely stuff. Remember that your arm is always one piece, that we're not doing this sort of flapping with your wrist. Let's try a different finger now. Here we go. We're starting sliding. Count next. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when you feel ready, pop your super glue on and let it wobble. Don't worry if it slides a little bit here. What we're after is that we can see the knuckles bend, and that's all that we're aiming for today. Okay, give your arm a little bit of rest, and then when you're ready, we're going to do our next finger. So we're sliding along the string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when you feel ready, pop your super glue on. Make your finger joints as supple as you can manage. How long can you keep this going for? Now, some people will not keep it going at all. So they might feel that the hand is doing all sorts of other movements. That's fine. That happens when you learn vibrato. That's quite normal. So don't worry about it, please. If that happens, you want to just go back to the sliding and just consolidate that sliding a little bit more before you try it again. And you might try it again tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or next week, or in 6 weeks' time. If it's not coming with the vibrato, I've said it many times, then you just need to give it more time, because it's not a time investment that teaches you the vibrato. It's a level of relaxation of the arm and the fingers. And when you first learn to play the violin, you haven't yet reached that level of relaxation. So just give it more time and you will get, with far less effort, you'll get a good vibrato going. If you try vibrato too soon, it simply isn't there. And that's okay, because there's lots of pieces that you can play without vibrato, you see. Have we got one more finger left? I think so. So let's play on our last finger and slide up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your super glue on if you can and see if you can wobble it. That's it. So this pinky requires a lot of bending and stretching. And for some people that is really hard, because it is not as flexible sometimes as the other fingers, and that is okay. So we have started to make our vibrato practice a regular feature of these lessons, and maybe from one day to the next you don't quite see as much progress as you would want to see, but if you look back in 2 weeks' time and you think, oh, I didn't play it at all then, suddenly you can do it a bit better. So this takes time and it takes patience. And isn't that what we've got in this course? We've got time and we've got patience, so we'll just keep going, shall we? Now, we're going to move away from our vibrato now and work on our wrist circles. And what I'd like you to do is just refresh your memory on what happens when you twist your wrist clockwise, when you turn your wrist clockwise, and then turn your wrist anti-clockwise. So just let your wrist feel again what that was like. Go the other way and then go that way again. Great. Let's now pick up the bow and we'll do the same exercise with the bow. So go slowly up, turn right, go down, all the way down, sideways, up, all the way up, turn right, go down, there we are. So be careful that you don't involve your whole elbow and your arm. This all stays fairly still, and it's just your wrist that does the job. And let's go the other way, shall we? Anti-clockwise. Sorry, I've got a little click in my wrist. Don't know if you can hear that. Okay. Now then. Now we're going to play that on the string, and we're going to play down bow on the E string, up bow on the A string. So go very slowly, because again, like we've said in the past, we're not interested in the sound, in the results that we get. What we're interested in is how your wrist moves, okay? So down bow on the E string, up bow on the A string. So what I may have told you before is we're roughly in the middle of the bow. And like I said, don't worry about the bow tilting, just get the feel for what it feels like. Okay, what I'd like you to do is when your hand goes up, move it as high up as you possibly can. And when your wrist goes down, move it as low down as you possibly can. Shall we do that again? On the E string, down bow. Now turn right with your hand, go up as high as you can manage with your wrist. Go down, as far down as you can. And that is awesome practice, really, really good work. Later on this week we're going to put it all together, and then you see what we're practicing this for. So please trust me that what we're doing is a useful skill for what comes a bit later. So next we're going to play the D major scale, and we're going to play every note of the scale twice with long bows. And while we do that, every time you play a down bow, I want you to imagine pulling that bow into the string, so dropping your right shoulder down and pulling on your shoulder blade to get it even further down. And as you play up bow, really see if you can get that little twist that we were practicing when we were just playing the open strings. So here we go. Find your nice balance. Stand up really tall so your violin is a good surface for the bow to play on. Okay, here we go. And... next, use your little finger. Well done. Let's play a D major arpeggio straight away as well. And... lovely playing. You see, your tone is improving all the time. It's getting warmer in tone, the sound is becoming fuller, so well done for making such good progress. We've played the scale of D major and the arpeggio of D major because we're going to improvise in the key of D major, doing the same as we've done before, so 3 sections. The first section in the key of D major. The next section is going to be in the dominant, and the dominant is the 5th degree of the D major scale. So perhaps you can quickly work out what key that might be in. So we're having D is 1, E is 2, F sharp is 3, G is 4, A is the 5th. You can also work that out with the strings of your violin, remember. So the violin is tuned in 5th, so a 5th higher than D is A. And our middle section of our improvisation is going to be in the key of A major. Our last section is D again. So we're playing D, A, D. Now the key signature of D major is 2 sharps. We've got an F sharp in that key and a C sharp. So you can use those. We've just played them in the scale and in the arpeggio. The key of A major, however, has got 3 sharps. It's got an F sharp and a C sharp, and it's also got a G sharp. And in the middle section, to indicate that this middle section is different in key compared with the first and last sections, you must put that G sharp in. Otherwise it sounds just like D major if you don't use the G sharp, you see, because then it's only got the 2 sharps. So in the middle section you're going to use a G sharp whatever you do, okay? In the last section we want to find that key of D again. So in the last section you must not put the G sharp in, otherwise as a listener you'll hear as if that is the key of A major, and that's not what you want to achieve. You want to be in D. So we're playing D, F sharp and C sharp, then A in our middle section, use the G sharp, and then in D major, our last section, you must not use the G sharp. So I'm going to give you an example, and then I'll leave you lots of time to explore for yourself how that might work for you. So I'm starting in D major. You see, I started on a D and I finish on a D. So this is all D major, going very fairly like the scale. Now I'm starting on a D, but I'm playing in the key of A major, so I might carry on the A, and I will have to use the G sharp. You see, now I'm playing notes that are almost entirely the A major scale. And now my third section is going to be in D again, but now I'm going to go and start on this D here, which is the top of our D scale. You see, and now I've finished very tidily in the key of D major again. So I'll invite you to just have a go and play around, and if you make a mistake it really doesn't matter. So just give it a go and see what happens. I'll give you lots of time. So I really can't wait to hear now how you're doing at the other end of this video. So do write about it in the comment section down below this video. It will be interesting for me to see what's going on. So for some of you, this may have been too short. So why not stop the video then, pause it and get carried away. Let yourself be carried away in your improvisation. That is a good thing. We're not restricting you in any way at this moment. So I think you will have noticed how that works when you play in D major, then in A major, then in D major, and that is what we're going to keep in our second improvisation of today. So now what we would like to add is some staccato or legato and some loud and some soft playing. Now that gets a little bit more confusing, doesn't it? Why don't we connect it up? All the bits that you play in D major are going to be legato, so slurs and just even notes that are connected together. The middle section is going to be staccato. And I want you to play loud at both ends, so section 1 and 3 are loud, the D major sections are loud, and soft in the middle section. So we're playing D major at the start, legato and loud. Then we're playing A major, remember, must put in the G sharp, staccato and soft. And then at the end we've got D major again, must not use the G sharp, loud and legato. Now that's a whole lot of things to take in. So catch what you can catch and let drop by the wayside what is too much for the brain, okay? So I'll give you an example and then I'll let you try it. That's my legato, forte, D major section. Now I'm going soft and playing staccato. That was my A major section, and you perhaps heard that I was emphasizing the G sharp big time. Now we're going loud and legato again. Mind the G natural. You see, now I'm finishing on a D again. Have a go yourself. If you need more time, remember, just pause the video and join us a little while later. If you haven't done very well and you think, oh, I can't really think of a thing to play, just have a go by just playing a D major scale, either loud or soft. And that in itself is a good way just to get going. Now we're doing our third and final bit of improvisation. And this time, I'm going to start staccato in my D major section, then I'm going to play legato, smooth, in my A major section, must play the G sharp, remember. Then in my final section, I'm going staccato again. Whether you play martelé or spiccato, it really doesn't matter. Must not use the G sharp. Okay, here we go. Let me think of something different. You see what happened? You have a go. For some of you that will be easier than for others. I do commend you for keeping going and just trying things out. Now, it is very much you fall, you learn with improvisation, isn't it? Although you can prepare lots of things, when you get there and actually are improvising, it's not so easy to remember all these things. But take it one step at a time. Even if you remember just the keys, that is a major bonus. Just think back to how we started 4 weeks ago, where you were just playing open strings and you were copying from me. So you have come a huge way since then. So congratulations, and thank you so much for putting your trust in me and letting me take you on this journey. And I am, of course, hugely curious about how you're getting on, so feel free to write about it in the comment section. There's nothing embarrassing about that, because there are lots of people who are reluctant maybe to let others look into what they're improvising, and you don't have to be writing in great detail, but some sort of idea for me to say, oh, you're going way too fast, or come on, move along a little bit. That would be very, very helpful for the rest of these lessons. So thank you once again. I'm very humbled by so many people watching these videos, and I very much look forward to seeing you in day 33. Goodbye.